You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 93. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josianne from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hello there, and welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. We are so excited to have you here in this new year. At this time of year, you are probably reflecting a little bit on what your first term, or if you're in high school, what your first semester looked like, and thinking about the changes that you want to make in your classroom leading into the new year. So we are going to be talking today about starting from a place of burnout and changing and shifting into a place where you're thriving in your classroom. But before we get into this episode, we are so excited to share a new sponsor with you. Do you care deeply about wellness, equity, and social emotional learning? Of course you do, because you're listening to this podcast. Do you want to gain tools to enhance your own and your students' well-being? If so, then Breathe for Change, this week's sponsor, is for you. Breathe for Change is a movement to enhance the health and well-being of teachers, students, and entire school communities. They offer the world's only 200-hour wellness, SEL, and yoga teacher training specifically for educators, and partner with schools, districts, and organizations to enhance community-wide well-being. Their work is life-changing. Lucky for you, Breathe for Change is across the U.S., and applications for 2020 are now open. Through the training, you'll be equipped and empowered to enhance your own well-being and integrate mindfulness and social-emotional learning into your classroom and community. Upon graduating their flagship training, you'll be eligible to receive 2 certifications: the internationally recognized Yoga Alliance 200-hour yoga teacher certification and Breathe for Change's Wellness Champion certificate. You can also get grad credits and CEUs. If you're committed to using wellness as a vehicle for social change and want to join an incredible community of thousands of like-minded leaders, then join the Breathe for Change movement and check out the trainings near you at www.breatheforchange.com. Again, that's www.breatheforchange.com. Their spring trainings start in January, so if this is something that interests you, definitely go check it out sooner than later so that you can maybe start in their spring session. Again, you can go to breatheforchange.com to find out more information about these trainings and to register. That's breatheforchange.com. All right, let's get into today's show. So first off, welcome to 2020. We're so excited to have you here with us. This is such a fun time of year because we really get into reflection mode and we start looking at goals that we've had, the ones that we've achieved, the things that went well, the things that we struggled with, and where we want to put our energies and our efforts moving forward. So we wanted to share with you guys a practice that we often do, especially at this time of year, that helps us to do that, to reflect and to move forward in a way that feels good for us. And that's just a journaling exercise. So Josianne, can you explain how we do this?
So for us, and I'm thinking in like the school year right now, we like to really think about what we struggled with from September to December. So what was really difficult in our personal lives and also like in our professional lives at school. And then we think of what went really well during that time. And then from there, we decide, how do we want to feel this upcoming year? So less about goals and what we want to do, but basing ourselves, or thinking about, I should say, how we want to feel in 2020.
Yeah. I think that was a huge shift for me, and I definitely kind of fall out of this practice and have to remind myself to get back into it. I start thinking of the goals that I want to achieve, the things that I want to do.
The boxes to check. We're box checkers, us teachers.
Yeah. The to-do list and the, whatever it is, it becomes box checking.
That's right.
And the thing that I think I'm learning year after year more and more at a deeper and deeper level is that saying of wherever you go, there you are. It doesn't matter if you change your circumstances around you, you bring yourself with you.
That's right.
Everywhere. So if you're feeling upset or down or low or unhappy in a certain life situation, sometimes changing what's around you and reaching new goals doesn't actually change how you feel inside. And if we can start off by thinking, how do I want to feel? And then move forward from that intention rather than thinking, oh, if I check off this box, then I'll feel happy or then I'll feel fulfilled.
Isn't the case. That won't happen.
Yeah.
That way anyway.
Exactly. And when you go from a place of how do I want to feel, you're kind of opening yourself up to this whole realm of possibilities that could make you feel that way that you've never thought would. Like maybe you want a new job or you want a new car or you want whatever, any of those things that you want, it's because you think it's going to bring you happiness. But then you might get those things and they don't actually bring you the feelings that you wanted to have. So as teachers, some of the feelings that oftentimes we want to have is
calm, balance, and joy
in
all aspects of your life. Recognize that? Anyone?
Or at least those are things that we like to feel, and hopefully you guys are on board with that too. But oftentimes, especially when we are in a classroom where we're feeling very challenged, and we feel overwhelmed in that year for whatever reason, we might think that the only way to get out of that feeling is to get out of that classroom. Is that you need to quit your job. What was I thinking being a teacher? This is too hard. And those thoughts come to you. And how can I get out of this? How can I run away from this? But as you and I have experienced, that being in a different job, being in a different situation doesn't stop you from putting lots of things on your plate and getting back to that feeling of overwhelm that you're accustomed to being in.
We know that all too well, unfortunately.
So if we can start from, okay, how do I want to feel? Then we can start taking actions that help us to feel that way right now, no matter what situation we're in.
Yeah, so just a quick recap, because we've said a lot of things there. So first, we ask ourselves, and this is something we do every year at this time of the year, and we do it often throughout the year. We ask ourselves, how do I want to feel? And once we've asked that, we ask ourselves, what can I do to get there? What can I do to get to that feeling? Like if you're saying, if in the beginning you were like, what's the challenge I have? Okay, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm feeling really stressed. Okay, how do I want to feel? I want to feel calm. Okay, what can I do to get there? Your initial thought might be quit my job and move to the beach. But, okay, what's an actionable thing that I can start taking right now that's realistic? Well, when I want to feel more calm, I can take 5 deep breaths. I can do 5-finger breathing myself or with my class. Which is literally what we started doing whenever we were having a difficult year and we started asking ourselves those questions. How do I want to feel? Small steps.
Yeah. So I'd love for you, Josianne, to bring us back now to where our story with Educom began, the struggle that we were having, and specifically that you were having before we just thought, how do I want to feel? And then how can I get there? So can you bring us back
to which year now?
The year.
Yes, the year that really where the idea for this business, Educom, has kind of sparked or came to life. I, from September until December that year, and I can't remember exactly what year it was now. It's like 4 years ago already, I think. I was struggling. I was feeling very anxious. I was feeling very stressed. I was going to burn out because I had a class of almost 30 students and there were a lot of needs in my classroom. And it felt impossible to meet all of those students' social, emotional learning needs, mostly academic also. But as a teacher, I felt pretty equipped to do the academic side of things with my students. But I felt like I really lacked when it came to addressing their social, emotional development, to the point where I didn't know if I should keep teaching that year or go on stress leave or what. So there was a lot of contemplation during that time. And what changed everything is that I decided to ask myself those questions. So, okay, what is the struggle and what's going well? And now from here, I don't want to live like this the rest of the school year. How do I want to feel? And for me, the answer was because everything felt so chaotic. I just wanted to feel calm again. I wanted to feel calm and collected and like I had it together, right? And so then I asked myself, okay, what do I need to do? And that's when I started my own mindfulness practice, which changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything. My entire life, personal, professional, everything.
How did you start that mindfulness practice?
Well, a little bit with your guidance, actually.
Side note, I had been watching you, it had been so hard to see you going through such a struggle. And I had been kind of just poking, try mindfulness. But you weren't ready until you were ready.
Yeah.
I had been mentioning it to you. I'd been poking you. And, but for everyone, for those of you listening, when you're trying to recommend a solution to someone, they aren't ready to hear it till they're ready. So you have to be patient with them.
Yeah.
So Josianne, once you were ready, what was that first step that you took?
I feel like I had already dabbled in yoga, mindfulness, meditation a little bit, but I think I think this is important because I think a lot of teachers can relate to this, that I just felt like I don't have time for that. I'm already burnt out. I'm already overwhelmed. I'm too stressed out to think of adding this into my routine. So now I forget what question you asked.
How did you start? What was that first step? Especially when you were feeling like you didn't have time. How did you make that leap from I don't have time for this to I have to make time for this?
So so my September to December was just, I wasn't taking care of myself. It was clear I was barely eating. Well, you remember, it was not that pretty. And then towards the end of December there, I decided, no, I'm going to continue next term. I'm not going to go on stress leave. But in order to do that, I have to start taking care of myself, which it was kind of the perfect time because we had the winter break then, the 2 weeks. And I decided that those 2 weeks were going to be about me. I was going to be very selfish and I was going to start to take some time for myself. So I started meditation, but maybe 5 minutes and not even every day. But then I was also starting to do other things like going for walks every day and just taking the time to make healthy food and just things like that. Just things that were for me, for my own well-being. And then, the vacation came and went and I was back at school. And when I started school again, I told myself, okay, every day I'm going to wake up 5 minutes early and I'm going to do this practice every morning. And I just noticed how big of a difference that made in my life. And that 5 minutes turned into 10 minutes. Then that 10 minutes turned into even longer. Then I started adding things to that. I started journaling in the morning. And then I started taking my dog for a walk or a run every morning. And so I just decided that I wanted to prioritize taking care of myself. And if I was going to prioritize it, it had to be every morning, first thing, because once the chaos of the day starts, it's kind of hard to make that time, right? And so I just noticed that I felt better and better and better. And, you know, the better it gets, the better it gets. And I wanted to keep feeling good and ready for my day. So then I just kept doing it. And it didn't feel like, oh, I have to wake up earlier, which at the beginning was very difficult, by the way, the habit. Mornings are not easy for me.
Yeah.
To like create that habit took a lot of convincing myself. Yeah.
I think what's standing out for me right now in your story is that you said, at this point, I have to be selfish. I have to be selfish. But the interesting thing is once you decided to be selfish, all of a sudden you started doing these practices for yourself, which gave you more energy and more capacity to do more for others. So at first the thinking is, oh, I'm being selfish. Yeah. But after a while,
it feels that way at the beginning.
Yeah. And then you realize that, wait a minute, self-care is not selfish. It's giving me way more energy to be a great teacher, to be a good friend, to be a good partner, to be a good dog mom, you know?
Yeah, I can tell you that the teacher I was after, like pre-September to December and post-December to the end of the school year, I was a completely different teacher. Mm-hmm. I was a much better teacher. I was there for my students. I was like emotionally capable of handling what they were going through compared to that September to December prior.
Yeah, because when you were feeling stressed out and burnt out and overwhelmed, you didn't have the emotional capacity to like support all those 30 students that are each coming into your classroom with their own set of emotional ups and downs, goods and bads all over the place. And for you to manage that on top of your own emotions would have been so hard. And we've all been there where you just don't have the capacity for the others. And then you feel guilty about it.
Okay. And speaking of that, I felt like I had so much more space to hold for my students. And when I started realizing just how beneficial this practice was for me, I was like, okay, there's something bigger here. Like it like clicked one day that I'm like, why aren't I doing this with my students? Like 5 minutes a day. If I'm having all of these challenges, I had like just a lot of social emotional needs in my classroom. If I could give them these 5 minutes to feel their best, like, hello, that's a no-brainer. Even though my brain kept saying, you don't have time to do that in classroom, you have all these academics. I was like, no, I have to try this. I have to see if it helps them. And of course, it was like life-changing. So it was transformative for me, but it was also crazy transformative for my students too. Once they got in the habit, it wasn't easy at first, but once I got them into the habit, I started really noticing changes, positive changes in my students, like capacity to manage their emotions, I guess, and also their behaviors.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're taking that time for yourself in the morning, taking that time to give them space for themselves in the morning, then the rest of the day is smoother. I mean, it's never perfect, especially when you have a group that has a lot of, challenges.
Individuals.
Yeah. So it's not like this miracle cure that happens overnight, but just like it takes a while to build that routine for yourself and that habit of doing it every day for yourself, it's the same for them.
Yeah.
You've got 30 kids in your classroom that need to learn this new routine.
It was by springtime, like end of March, so end of the second term, where I was like, okay, there is something here.
Yeah.
Like, there is something huge here, which is where our baby was pretty much born.
Yeah. And that's where we started talking about, because I was seeing the same things in my classroom. My story is basically the same as yours. Started in a space of feeling overwhelmed, figured out, okay, I need to do something to support myself socially and emotionally so that I have the space to hold for my students, practiced mindfulness for myself, created a routine, and started very small. Just like you said, I started 2 to 5 minutes with a guided mindfulness meditation. So that's one thing that people often mention when I do workshops in schools with teachers and I guide them through mindfulness practice. They go, wow, that was so much easier when it was guided. And I'm like, yes, when you were beginning, do a guided meditation. Don't try to just sit silently.
Don't put a timer on.
No, do a guided meditation. You can find lots of free ones. I would suggest Insight Timer. They have lots of free guided meditations of different lengths, different styles. Also, if you listen to our episode number 92, we have a free guided mindfulness practice there for you. I think it's about 7 to 10 minutes long.
And it's wonderful.
I enjoyed
Kaylee's
recording
voice.
that one. So that can be a resource that you use to start this practice yourself, but I would not suggest starting a meditation or a mindfulness meditation practice without guidance. It's very challenging.
And to this day, whenever I'm not feeling emotionally like 100%, I still always listen to something guided.
Yeah, I do too. And I generally listen to the same guided practice, the exact same audio for like at least a month at a time until I get bored of it. But I really like sticking to the same one for a while.
Repetition is key.
Yes.
It is key.
It really is.
Very important to repeat and repeat, which is like, I don't know, want to talk about all the new things that are going on? Because I feel like this kind of goes perfectly with it.
So this leads us up to where we were both doing it in our classrooms and seeing amazing results in our students and realizing, wow, this is like all classrooms should be doing this. But we were struggling to find a resource that made it easy for us to do this practice without us guiding it. So what we decided to do was to create a ready-to-use resource that allowed teachers to learn alongside their students, so they didn't have to go and do a yoga teacher training first like you and I did, or go and do some sort of training to be able to lead it, that they could just start in their classroom right away. So through talking about, okay, how can we serve teachers? How can we serve students so that this practice has the impact in other classrooms that we've seen in our own classrooms? And that's how we developed EduCalm.
Yeah. EduCalm Classroom.
Yes. So we have really exciting news to share in the new year. Some of you guys might have seen this already, but for lots of you, it might be new. We have...
It's the first time we announce it publicly.
Yes.
So exciting.
We have a brand new website. So when we first thought of EduCalm, we had this big vision for it. And the last couple of years, we've had amazing feedback from other teachers using our program, giving us feedback along the way as we've been developing it. So now it is currently like the incarnation of that huge vision that we had for this just really simple to use resource that would allow teachers to bring that calm into their classroom for both themselves and for their students. So you have to go check it out. It's educalm.com. That's EduCalme. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about a free resource on our website. We're going to teach you exactly how to use it. But before then, just a little sneak peek, you can go and get our free trial of EduCalm Classroom right away. Go to educalm.com and click on free trial, where you'll be able to use our ready-to-use resources right away.
Okay, we were talking about repetition, so just cycling back around repetition. So in the free trial, there is 4 to 5 weeks worth of guided mindfulness practices. There are 5 audios that are meant to be repeated 5 times. And why is it important to repeat them?
That repetition is just so key, especially with the mindfulness practice. When we're practicing mindfulness, what we're doing is we're watching our mind as it drifts away from the present moment and comes back to the present moment. So we're building that muscle of recognizing when our focus has shifted and bringing our focus back to what we want to pay attention to. So the students that are listening to this audio, their mind might be going in and out. They might be paying attention and not paying attention. So that repetition allows them to really take in the lessons that they're learning in each of the audios. And learning is about repetition. Our brain
That's right.
only creates new neural pathways when it sees that we're reusing these neural pathways over and over and over. So that repetition is very key for learning.
And so again, if you want to join the free trial, which never expires, you can use it forever. You can go to educalm.com/free. And on top of that, you will be added to a giveaway to a year membership to Educalm Classroom, to the full Educalm Classroom, which we'll be picking the winner on February 15th.
Yes. So for those of you that have already signed up for the free trial, you're already on our list. So anyone that signs up for the free trial from the day that we launched our website to February, what did you say?
15th.
February 15th will be added into that draw to win a full year subscription to Educalm Classroom. So stay tuned for next week, where we're going to be going into details about how to use our free trial, how to implement mindfulness into your classroom. But before then, if you have signed up for that free trial, don't worry, there is a training video in there for you. So if you can't wait till next week, you can go ahead and watch that training video already.
So your exit ticket for today is to ask yourselves the question, what did I struggle with in my classrooms from September to December? And also what went well? Then ask yourself, how do you want to feel and what you can do to get to that feeling? And if you decide that you want to feel more calm and balanced in and out of your classroom, you need to sign up for our free trial.
Yes.
And where can they do that?
Go to educalm.com/free. So that's educalme.com/free. If you enjoyed this episode and if you enjoy listening to the Balanced Educator podcast, share it with someone that you think would get value from it too. Share the love. And we will see you again next week.
Have an awesome week.